Hey everyone, and welcome to another GameXplain discussion. I'm your host, Derek Bittner, and I'm joined today by Serebii's Joe Merrick to discuss the major update for Pokémon Go. So let's get started. Alright Joe, so Niantic finally came out today and detailed exactly what's coming to Pokémon Go as far as their changes to the gyms and how they exactly work. And I gotta say, looking over their notes and how they're describing how everything's going to work now, this seems like a much better system than what we had before.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I don't know how it is for you over in America, but here in my hometown, all the gyms are literally Dragonite, Tyranitar, Dragonite, Gyarados, Dragonite.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm in a small area, that not a ton of gyms or a crazy Pokemon to find. Like, I only found a Dratini when I went to the beach. I've never seen a single one here, yet every freaking gym has Dragonite. I was like, where are you people finding them? It's crazy. So just that pure active balance that you can't have repeat Pokemon in each gym, that is such a good idea.
Yeah, and it means people have to come about the whole concept of facing the gyms in a completely different manner, because previously they'd just go with what's tried and true with their tiers, which some people have determined for Pokemon and their moves. Mm-hmm. But now people have to be more varied in what they bring. They have to think more strategically rather than just more damage per second.
Yeah, it's not so much about power anymore, it's about that strategy and how you can wear them down and what sort of team works best for you. And I don't know, it really just seems like a much better idea. It's good to see them making some actual progress on this.
Yeah, and really, it's the first showcase of more social stuff, because it's got the other players in your team. I think they can feed berries to your Pokemon as well, if memory serves. I just need to double check that.
Yeah, and for people who weren't aware of that, and rather than your Pokemon just being there all the time until the gym gets taken over, there's now a motivation meter for each of the Pokemon, and as they lose, the motivation goes down, so you have to revisit the gym in order to give your Pokemon berries, and potentially, if you find out that it's that way, you could even feed berries to other members of the gym. So if you got a really powerful clincher, you're definitely going to want to work together to keep him around.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's face it, a Dragonite and a Tyranitar are probably going to be seen in most gyms still.
Mm-hmm. At least we don't have to fight 6 of them.
Yeah, they have the highest CP and the best moves, but so you may want to go in and just heal up a Dragonite.
Yeah, and it definitely makes a lot of sense, and I like that there's this balance now where you can wear down, you just okay, I'll keep fighting them and just kill these Pokemon's motivation. That way there's less in there and I can eventually take them all down.
And that's just gyms in general. Mm-hmm. But I definitely like the changes. And what I like is being able to get items from the gyms. There are a lot of areas where there's more gyms than Pokestops and people wouldn't be getting items, and now you can get items from them. I do wonder if the Go Plus will pick them up, though.
That's a good question. I don't actually have a Go Plus of my own, so I'm not exactly sure how that would go. But it's still a really good idea, a nice solution to that, because there are certain sections where it's more gyms than Pokestops, and it just makes sense to be able to allow people to get whatever items they need. Yeah,
and you can get eggs from them as well, so that's always going to be useful.
Yeah. Well, speaking of eggs, that actually ties into another aspect of the gyms, and that's Pokemon raids, or raid battles, I guess, where every so often, once they fully implement it, it's going to be a slow rollout, like most things with Pokemon Go, where an egg will appear on top of a gym. And when that happens, all the Pokemon in that gym basically get booted out. And it's up to, you basically, as long as you have a raid pass, you can eventually challenge this gym, whatever this raid boss might be. And I think it's pretty conventional wisdom that this is probably how they're going to handle legendary Pokemon, correct?
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense. That ties back into the initial reveal of Pokemon Go back in September 2015.
Oh, jeez.
With the Mewtwo.
Uh-huh. Now, I still remember that. That was pretty crazy. So it's actually kind of cool. Like, I wonder how it'll handle all of it, like having 20 Pokemon attack this one, and you only have 5 minutes to actually take it down.
Well, really, with up to 20 people, it does make a lot of sense, because when you look at the screenshots they've provided, you've got a 25,000 CP Tyranitar, when typically the maximum at the moment is 3,000. So we need those 20 players to take care of it.
Yeah, that's for sure. It's going to be a little rough otherwise. I mean, it's cool that they'll have these more powerful Pokemon to catch, but really, come on, we need some legendaries in here. It's about time.
Yeah, I mean, we're already behind with them, and there's, what, 9 legendary Pokemon, 11 including mythicals, that should be available in the first 251.
Yeah. So I'm sure they'll roll it out, and of course we'll have special ones as well, just to keep it interesting and maybe not have it all the time. But again, it's nice to see this progress, that they're finally making the game more like what they
promised.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's something that I've always been critical about Pokemon Go with. It was high on promise and low on results. Like, I loved Pokemon Go when it started, but they gradually seemed to, like, remove all the fun bits.
Yeah, that's what sort of drew me away. Became so aggravating trying to find the Pokemon you wanted to find, and it just became sort of luck based. And I guess it's improved over time. I honestly have stopped playing for the most part. I don't really worry about it anymore, but I know that it still has quite a higher player base. Not as much as it when it first started, but still enough for it to be in the I think top 10 on the Apple App Store.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's only left the top 10 like twice in its year of existence.
Yeah, that's
pretty
really good.
Impressive.
Yeah,
I definitely like raids. I mean, for one, it's a very social thing, unlike the rest of the game, and Pokemon's always meant to be about the social aspect, and Pokemon Go not having that true social aspect hurt it considerably in my view. Mm-hmm. Now, it did have a faux social aspect where you and your friends would go out and hunt Pokemon together, but there was nothing connecting the players in the game other than putting each other's Pokemon in a gym.
That was definitely the case. Like, it was really cool to have that social aspect of all these people roaming around everywhere catching Pokemon, but there was no real way to interact with them. And these raid battles, like, I remember back in the when it first started, having 20, 30 people in the park just going to Pokestops, catching Pokemon, and all of that. And it just seemed like raids would just be a perfect way to bring all those people together.
Yeah, I completely agree. And they could just hold these raids at like special events like the Pokemon World Championships or the Pokemon Go Fest, which had tickets open up today and sell out within half an hour.
Yeah, that did not take long at all. That just goes to show just still how popular it is, because as far as I can tell, it looks like it'll have increased wild spawn at Grant Park, where it's being held. There's an implication that Heracross will be there.
Yeah.
Special in-app medal for just participating there, and then special Pokestops that will give 2-kilometer eggs and special challenges with unique rewards. No telling on what those unique rewards are, but do you think they could premiere the first raid at this Go Fest or not?
I don't know, because that is a month away, and I don't think they'd announce this with a month to go until there. I'm thinking they've announced this and it's going to be a week or two.
Makes sense.
So it's possible, but I'm just not sure. I originally thought it would be the first legendary Pokemon.
Now, who do you think is going to be the first one? Do you think they're going to go Mewtwo first, or do you think they're going to work their way up with the legendary birds?
I think they'll do team-specific raids with the legendary birds. It makes the most sense.
That is true. That is very true. I am cool with that. I love Articuno. That's why I picked Team Blue in the first place.
Raid battles, they do come with a fair few special perks, don't they?
Yes, they do. There are a few things that you can get out, like special premiere balls. For beating a raid boss, you get rare candy, which is a little different, not an automatic level. Instead, it's a candy that can be applied to any Pokemon that you have. It'll work as their candy. The golden raspberries, which fully increases fully restores motivation in Pokemon that are in gyms, or they could greatly increase your chances of catching a Pokemon if you use it in battle. And then finally, TMs are actually being included into the game, which seems like a really good thing, especially since like, I finally got a Gyarados. I caught a wild Gyarados, and it has Twister. Yay.
Yeah. Yeah, TMs, move tutors, have been something I've been advocating for Pokemon Go to implement for ages, because I've seen so many people who have gradually built up enough candy to evolve a Pokemon. Like, get a Charizard, get a Dragonite, only for it to have the absolute worst possible moves it could have. And that's very disappointing. It means you have to start again, and that's not really what Pokemon's about. Pokemon's about raising and training your Pokemon, not about raising and training it, then finding out it's rubbish and then binning it. Then again, that is IV breeding, isn't it?
It is, but it's not usually something that everybody does. In this, it's like, I mean, if you're into the battling aspect, you have to get those proper moves. Like, for me, I never cared too much, because I never, like, the way the gyms were structured, I got just fed up with losing all the time and never being able to effectively take over one that earned everything that I needed. So I was just like, I'm just going to worry about actually catching Pokemon. Screw it.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same. I haven't played a gym battle in like 3 months, and it's just not that fun. Now, this does bring another question in, because even though the structure of the gyms have changed, and just the structure, we don't know if the mechanics have, and I don't think they have much. I mean, there's probably going to be a buff of nerf and of all the moves again, and maybe some more Pokemon get some different moves, but we don't know if anything's going to change, and that means that this will give like this is neat sort of feeling, and then it'll peter out again.
Yeah, I could definitely see that happening, because battles were never that stimulating, and whenever I was actually in it, the servers weren't exactly at their best. So it'd be tap, 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 swipe, oh, come on, actually move, do what I want, and like wait for it to actually happen. So it was never the most engaging battles, let's be honest, and I guess on a fundamental level, it really doesn't change how it all plays.
It gives enough bonuses. It's changed things up a fair bit, so it could be good. I'm cautiously optimistic. I think we've got some good things going here, and each gym having its own badge is pretty cool. You've got to admit that. Yeah,
no, that is really cool, and that's a lot of badges to collect.
That is.
But no, it's cool just to see them bring in these elements that weren't there before. And I mean, I don't know if this will be enough to bring in players again. I can definitely see once like the first legendary goes up, then a lot of people are going to come back, because everybody's going to want a Mewtwo, a Mew, what have you. And I can definitely see that bringing back an influx of people. Whether or not they stick around after that is the big question. So as far as people returning to the game, I mean, I think they're always going to have that same sort of level of player.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to bring people back, but we'll see. It may not last. I mean, they still have promised us player versus player in trading. Don't know if we'll ever see that.
That'll be for the 2nd year anniversary.
That would not surprise me.
Yeah, no, I can see it taking them a while. We'll probably get Gen 3 before we get PvP and trading.
I'd be surprised if we didn't have Gen 4 by then.
Oh, well, that's a good point. We did get 2 gens in our first year, so yeah, it probably won't be too long until we start seeing Gen 3 get pop up in here.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah, even more variety. It's always good to have.
Yeah. Then we can have a gym with Dragonite, Tyranitar, Salamence, and Metagross.
Oh, lovely. It's just what we want. Oh, don't you worry. You know that Mewtwo's will be in there as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Well, any other final thoughts on this major update coming to Pokemon Go?
Not really. I mean, I do like that you can work with other teams in raids to take the Pokemon out. That's a pretty neat thing.
Absolutely, and a nice bit of companionship being worked in there, at least as far as the raids. So we'll We'll see how it all goes, but for now, I might give it a look. I'm not sure. I haven't deleted the app yet, so it's still there on my phone, so I'm not completely gone from it. But, well, I think that covers it for our Pokemon Go discussion, so thank you for watching, and if you like this video, be sure to like us on Facebook and Twitter at GameXplain. And Joe, where can they find you at?
You can find me on Twitter at Joe Merrick or at Serebii.
Awesome. And of course, make sure to subscribe to GameXplain for more on Pokemon and other things gaming as well. Until next time, bye.